Hello, and welcome to Class 2 of Introduction to Dreamweaver. In this class, you'll build the HTML structure for the page using the Insert panel, which generates the necessary code automatically. Although Dreamweaver creates the code on your behalf, it's important to keep an eye on the HTML structure that's being created to ensure elements are correctly nested inside each other. After building the basic structure, you'll add text, images, and links to the page. At this stage, the result will look very bland, but getting the structure right is an essential prerequisite to styling the page in Class 3 and 4. Typically, the first steps to creating a website begin on a piece of paper or in a graphics editing application such as Adobe Fireworks or Adobe Photoshop. Graphic designers usually sketch out a piece of comprehensive artwork, also known as a comp, for the website to make sure that the initial ideas for the site meet with their client's approval. This tutorial provides you with the completed and approved comp for the homepage of Bayside Beat, the fictional guide to San Francisco. As the web designer, your job is to transform the comp into a working web page. There's a copy of the comp, BaysideBeatComp.jpg, in the first Website Part 1 folder that you unzipped on your hard drive in last class. Increasing numbers of people are accessing websites on a wide range of screen resolutions, from mobile phones through tablets to laptops and desktops. Creating a website design that adapts to different screen sizes requires considerable CSS knowledge and skills. To keep this tutorial relatively simple, you'll work with a display designed primarily for a desktop or tablet. The instructions throughout this course try to anticipate common errors, and the website contains a zip file for each class showing how the code should look when you've finished. If your page doesn't look the way you expect, use the Dreamweaver File Compare feature to compare your files with the downloaded versions. To use File Compare, you need a third-party file comparison utility, such as WinMerge for Windows or Text Wrangler for Mac. Both are free and available on the class website. The most common causes of mistakes are accidentally skipping a step in the instructions or mistyping a CSS selector. Retrace your steps to see where you might have gone wrong. Sometimes the best idea is to start again from scratch. It can be frustrating, but you can learn a lot from your mistakes. Of course, if you do get stuck, call for help. The best place is on the website under the class forum, where you can find experts in the class through tutors or me, or other class members to help you out. You'll start by creating a new page and saving it in the Bayside Beat local root folder of your website. If you haven't created the Bayside Beat local site folder, see Class 1. In Dreamweaver, make sure the Bayside Beat file is selected in the Files panel. Select File into New. In the Blank Page category of the New Document dialog box, select HTML from the Page Type list and None from the Layout list. These two options should already be selected by default. Check that the doc type is set to HTML5 and click Create. Select File, Save, or press Ctrl-S or Command-S in Windows or Mac. In the Save As dialog box, make sure you're in the Bayside Beat folder that you defined as the site's local root folder. Dreamweaver should have selected this automatically, but if a different file folder is selected, select the Site Root button at the bottom of the dialog box. Enter index.html as in the file name text box. The file name now appears in the tab of your new document. In the document title text box at the top of your new document, type Bayside Beat Cable Cars. Your site visitors will see this title in the browser's title bar or tab when they view the page in a web browser. Click the page once to move the insertion point out of the document title text box. you'll see an asterisk appears next to the file name in the Documents tab. This asterisk indicates that a file has changed and that you need to save the file if you want to keep the changes. Select File Save. Web pages are built using HTML, which defines the structure of the content. One of the basic building blocks of a web page layout is the div tag, which looks like this. It acts as a container for text, images, and other page elements, grouping them together so they can be styled in a consistent way. There are special tags for headings, paragraphs, and images. HTML5 adds new tags, such as header, footer, and article. These new tags perform the same function as a div tag. The difference is that they also specify the role of the element in the page. Most HTML elements have opening and closing tags, with the name of the element between angle brackets. The closing tag has a / before the element name, like this. You use CSS to position these grouping elements by adding horizontal and vertical space around them, known as margins, or inside them, known as padding. CSS is also used to change the color of text and backgrounds, add drop shadows and rounded corners, as well as other artistic effects. If you look at the design comp again, you'll notice that the page is divided into distinct sections. To keep the whole page together, centered in the browser, everything needs to be inside an outer wrapper. These sections all correspond to separate grouping elements that act as containers for the content inside of them. There's the header, the navigation, the article, the image, the main article, the sidebar, and the footer. During this class, you'll build the HTML structure using the Insert panel. It's best to work in split view because it's important to understand the underlying HTML code that Dreamweaver creates on your behalf. Click the Split button at the left of the document window to reveal the underlying HTML structure that Dreamweaver has already built for you. All the visible content of a web page goes between the opening and closing body tags. Make sure the insertion point is between them. If it isn't, click anywhere inside the Design view on the right of the document window. This ensures that the HTML code will be inserted in the correct place. If it isn't already expanded, expand the Insert panel by clicking its tab or selecting Window, Insert. The Insert panel consists of several subpanels. The default is Common. Open the menu at the top left of the panel by clicking the down arrow and select Layout. The Layout category contains all of the grouping and structural elements necessary to build the framework for a web page. Click the first option, Insert Div Tag. In the Insert Div Tag dialog box, leave At Insertion Point selected. In the Insert pop-up menu, leave the Class text box blank and type Wrapper in the ID text box. Giving the div tag an ID gives it a unique way to identify it, which will be applied using CSS styles later. Click OK. The new div tag appears on your page, surrounded by a dotted line in Design View, and with some placeholder text inside. If you can't see the dotted line surrounding the div tag, select View, Visual Aids, and make sure there's a check mark alongside CSS Layout Outlines. Clicking any of the options in the Visual Aids submenu toggles them on and off. The placeholder text should be automatically selected when the div tag is inserted, so press Delete to remove it. The dotted outline of the div tag should still be visible in Design View, and you should see the insertion point between the opening and closing div tags in Code View. If you accidentally deleted too much, press Ctrl-Z in Windows or Command-Z in Mac to undo the previous step and try again. That's all for Part 1 of Class 2. Please check the website for Class 2 video Part 2 to continue.